The quarterfinals match featuring the LPL Civil War between RNG and EDG had EDG coming out ahead with a scoreline of 3-2, most particularly featuring 5 games of Enchanters being played on the side of the victorious team. Now the question is, RNG they showed the ability to beat the start before, so where did they exactly fumble? Now, if we were to take a look at the exact matchups, RNG tried to play engage supports into the enchanted supports 4 out of 5 times, only winning once out of these 5 times, and the other time they managed to take a game was when they matched Enchanter with Enchanter playing the Lulu into the Yumi. EDG on the other hand played 3 games of Yumi, 1 game of Nami, and 1 game of Lulu. So the question we are trying to answer today is, are melee supports the wrong answer to Enchanters? And RNG has shown success with this formula before, playing against PSG Talon, where they were able to create a split map scenario and then play for jungle gap. With me covering that entire topic in one of my previous videos, where they punished PSG Talon's Talon TP jungle, where they played the Northers into the Yumi. Now, we have had some brainstorm ideas as to how to beat Enchanter supports in the plus, and mismatching the jungle parting is going to be a very big part of it. Freezing mid lane to force 3v3s around the frozen wave. Also, the classic pulling mid into bot to dive as 4. Now, these are the 3 big ideas as to how we can deal with these enchanters in the meta. However, what happened in the games is that the first game was RNG winning it after they were able to get a mismatch jungle parting, securing a good reset for the bot lane, and then being able to reach the mid game where the engaged supports have much higher utility as compared to the enchanter supports. Now, in the second game where they played Alistar against the Yumi, the jungle parting was matched, resulting in a big fight 3v3 where EDG came out ahead and then they were able to snowball from that point. RNG arguably wasted an opportunity where they had a mismatch on parting once again in the third game of the series. However, they whiffed the punish window twice, and as a result, EDG were able to run away with the game as the Enchanters proved to be creating too much pressure on the side of the map. And in the fifth game of the series, the lane was played poorly, and once again the jungle parting was matched, resulting in few options for RNG to really find headways to attack the Yumi lane. Now, to further break this down, let's try to understand what is the function and how do these enchanter supports function in lane. And the general idea is that enchanter supports want to keep the lane pushed in as much as possible. When you're used to seeing engaged supports versus engaged supports, what you would see happen is that one team will push into wave, and then they will crash into the turret, and then they will bounce back out. But instead, with enchanter supports, instead of having the wave bounce back out and ping pong all the way back to their side of the map, what's going to happen is that they are going to use the fact that they have 2 ranged champions in order to maintain the push and continue to keep their opponents pinned under the turret. The goals and objective of playing an enchanted lane is that you want to be able to burn through your opponent's sustain and keep them pinned under the turret as much as possible, using the triple P's of push, poke, and pin to set the ideas of how to execute when you're playing the likes of Lulu, Nami, or Yumi. Now, in a mesh jungle scenario, it results in an inability for the opponent jungler to break the lane state, as instead of creating a 3v2 scenario, the opponent jungler would be there to force a 3v3 in a situation where not only do they have the ward advantage to see you coming, they will also have the wave advantage you try to force onto them. And also, however, mismatch jungle parting creates windows for you to gank and allows the laners to push out and secure a reset successfully, like we saw in the first game of the series. And securing a reset is rather important, as not only does it allow you to buy a set of items for you to be able to then one-shot the enchanters or opponent AD carry should you land and engage on them. It also allows you to secure a buy of potions to stay healthy in the lane if necessary. Now, the ideas that RNG had in this matchup was that they went for the likes of Rakan and Alistar, which had innate sustain tools within the kit, to be able to concede the push early and stay healthy as much as possible, so that if a timing would arise, they would be healthy enough in order to take those fights. And there's another option where Nautilus, if you do start with the Titan's Wrath, adding the shield and the W, you are actually able to contest for prio, and this is something that RNG used to do in the past as well, when Uzi used to be on the team, where Ming would play Nautilus into Yumi in the heyday where Yumi was extremely strong, and they would just burn through both pots level 1 in order to secure push for the lane. That way, when the jungler would path down to the bottom side of the map, it is them who is enabling the jungle gap for their team rather than the other way around. So what went wrong in Game 3, where RNG were presented with the opportunity to have a mismatch on path, right? So Wei does 4 camps into top dive, while Jie does a full clear into bot, and then enabling him to invade the Crocs, dropping a ward on the Crocs itself, which then forces Rakan to use his sweeper. Now, what happens at this point of time is at 3:15, already from the push rates they had taken the lane earlier, and the amount of pressure that Lulu and Philos is able to place on RNG's bot lane, there's no more pots on Ming, and Gala only has one pot left at this point of time. On top of that, having the Rakan sweeper be blown to sweep out the ward that Olaf plays on the bottom side of the map, then allows for Philos to place a ward on the tri-bush. And as Xin Zhao goes for the gank on the top side of the map, he is only on the map at the delayed portion of 4 minutes, and now he has to choose between securing his camps or assisting his bot lane to resolve their situation where they have run out of sustain and are being pinned under the turret. He is forced to then clear his camps, at risk of falling further behind the Olaf at this point of time, and goes for a second dive on the top side of the map. And as a result, the bot lane falls extremely far behind, going down close to 400 gold, which is slightly over a kill's worth, and Aphelios is able to get a solid hold of the game from this point. Now, while they are eventually able to secure a reset for the bot lane, EDG is then able to secure the referral through the bot lane priority. And in this scenario, while RNG does get Xiaohu and Delusion ahead on the top side of the map, EDG gets the Aphelios and Olaf, two much more larger factors, capable of outcarrying the Lucian's lead on the top side of the map, much further ahead in their cases. So what did RNG do wrong? Or what could have RNG have done better? Like they did in the PSG series, invading level 1 to force a split map scenario. That way you can then enforce a mismatch jungle scenario for themselves. Or contesting prior level 1, the match jungle scenarios by burning pots like they used to do in the past when Uzi was still on the team. Or perhaps placing a high emphasis on building a bot lane for a reset in mismatch jungle scenarios rather than simply tunneling onto the top dive. Now, ultimately, going for the engages versus enchanters dynamic, it creates a pressure point in the metagame that RNG as a top-centric team will not prepare to deal with. Perhaps the solution, after all, was not to play an engager into enchanter and simply to match enchanter with enchanter to then ease the amount of pressure that is required from the jungler. And with that, EDG took the series 3-2, and they advance on to the semifinals, where they await the winner of C9 versus Gen G. And this is kind of a read of Enchanter Cinemata. I think they're here to stay for some time, and teams over time, I think EDG in particular should have a good answer to this. But them going for enchanters in all 5 games in the series, I think it is them showing their read, understanding that RNG doesn't necessarily know, or given their team character or color, will not be able to effectively deal with them. And with that, the rest of the quarterfinals matches will be happening. So let's get hyped for Worlds. Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed this style of content, please do consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel.